your section of the wall. Thomas Jefferson once said, "No duty the executive, or president, has to perform is so trying as to get the right man in the right place." In a word, that's what this devotion is about. I was preaching through chapter 3 of Nehemiah when I noticed something that had never caught my attention before. In Nehemiah 3:28 King James Version, the Bible says, "From above the horse gate repaired the priest, every one over against his house." Did you catch it? Repaired the priest, every one over against his house. Concerning the rebuilding effort of the wall around Jerusalem, chapter 3 lists specific men as the builders of specific gates. Why? Because he was a great leader and wanted to motivate his people to do a good job. Nehemiah not only assigned men to rebuild sections of the wall according to their natural gifts and interests, but also assigned them the section that was directly in front of their house. Now, this would certainly motivate them to do a good job, wouldn't it? He put the right people in the right place and gave them the proper motivation. They knew the probability was high that the enemy would attack the wall. They just didn't know where he would attack. Why, he may even attack their section. So, it was in their best interest to ensure that their section of the wall was built to code. No exceptions would be granted. No shortcuts would be taken. No inferior materials would be used. No shoddy workmanship would be allowed. Nothing would be taken for granted. Every action would be tested and retested to ensure it was done correctly. The expectations and standards were high. After all, this section of the wall, the one directly in front of each of their homes, was there to protect the most precious commodity of all, their families and loved ones. Wow! There are quite a few spiritual lessons that we can learn from Nehemiah's actions. First, each man was assigned to repair the section of the wall located directly in front of his house. If we are not careful, we will overlook the implied meaning here. Nehemiah was in charge of rebuilding the whole wall. Everybody else was only responsible for rebuilding his section of the wall. Ain't it funny that when it comes to rebuilding and repairing the spiritual walls in our lives, we're all too happy to tell our leader how the whole wall should be repaired. And we're all too willing to wander next door to our neighbor's section of the wall and give him our advice. But oh my, should people dare to wander into our section of the wall and start giving us advice, we puff up like old bullfrogs. How dare they? And no, we aren't doing the repairs, but we sure don't want anybody else to tell us what to do. After all, this is our section and our responsibility. So what we do or don't do is nobody else's business. Right? Wrong. We all have a vested interest in everyone doing the assignment that God has given them correctly. You see, one breach in the wall compromises it all. Therefore, it is critically important that we complete the task God assigned us regarding our section of the wall. And as my mama used to say, son, get your own doorstep swept around before you go trying to sweep around somebody else's. Secondly, by assigning sections of the wall, Nehemiah established boundaries. I think we often overlook the spiritual importance of knowing our boundaries in life. Boundaries are a good thing. Boundaries not only keep some things in, but they also keep other things out. Knowing and respecting the boundaries prevents confusion and frustration. Years ago, my neighbor, Mr. Blair, purchased a field that adjoined the back portion of the property Mary Ann and I own. Shortly after the transaction was completed, he drove to my house and asked to see me. He said, "Do you have a few minutes you can give me?" I said, "Sure. What's up?" He said, "I just purchased the field that adjoins the backside of your property. I was wondering if I could get you to come help me locate the corner pins and walk the property line with me." I said, "Sure." And that is precisely what we did. I will never forget that when we finished, he looked at me and said, "Now, as long as you and I live, there will never be a question or a dispute between us as to where the property lines are." We had established the boundaries. He used the property on his side of the boundary to raise hay. I used the property on my side of the boundary to raise a family. Thirdly, Nehemiah's actions demonstrate that a task has been assigned for all to undertake, and with that assignment comes personal accountability. For the majority of my secular career, I was in some form of management. I served in various roles, including production control coordinator, inventory control coordinator, shift supervisor, production manager, and ultimately plant manager. I managed the ferns, roses, lilies, and rhododendrons. Little humor there, very little. And I had it drilled into my head that the art of effective management is to assign responsibility and exact accountability. This is exactly what Nehemiah did. He assigned the section of the wall directly in front of each of their houses and exacted accountability for his assignment. Most today want the title, assignment, or responsibility, if you will, but few want the accountability that comes with it. As with the children of Israel rebuilding the wall at Jerusalem, during the course of our lives, we are given many assignments that directly affect the well-being of those in our houses, our families, our friends, and those we love. And as with the children of Israel, there's a very high probability that the enemy will attack the section of the spiritual wall we were assigned to rebuild. In Nehemiah's time, the assignment was a brick wall. In our time, the assignment has many names. We are given assignments with names like husband, wife, dad, mom, grandparent, children, grandchildren, friends, and most importantly, spiritual ambassador for Jesus Christ. The question is, how is the work going on your section of the wall? None of my business? Oh, I don't think so, because if you fail or I fail, we all fail. We all have a vested interest in this project called life. Rest assured, the enemy will attack my section and your section of the spiritual wall we are building. Regrettably, the quality of our workmanship is revealed only when the enemy attacks. If the enemy attacked your section of the spiritual wall today, would it stand? What would this attack reveal about you? Did you take shortcuts? Did you use inferior materials? And most importantly, who or what will be destroyed if your section of the wall fails? Jesus said in John 9:4, King James Version, "I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work." And so it is with us. The attack is coming, and so is the night. Therefore, we must do the work on our assigned section now. Hear my encouragement today. Whatever you're going to do for the Lord, your assignment, do it now. Lord, would you burn into our hearts that whatever section of the wall you have assigned us, that now is the time to do the work. Let us work now. God, burn that in our hearts. Lord, the night cometh when no man works. Today is the day of salvation. In your name, amen.